To begin, let's go back to the past, 4,600,000,000 years ago. Our Earth does not yet exist. Only a new protosol is formed and a ring of gas and dust and an extremely beautiful face. But we're interested in something a little different. Fast forward a little bit about this 4,540,000,000 years ago. Our planet was formed a long time ago, when it was far from habitable. The conditions on Earth are truly horrifying instead of the usual scenery. There was a sea of fire coming from the molten rock. There are radioactive elements around the surface temperature, 4,700 degrees Celsius, or about 8,500 degrees Fahrenheit. Instead, there's carbon dioxide, nitrogen, sulfur and water vapor instead of solid terrestrial magma oceans. Add to that the constant bombardment of a large asteroid and you get a pretty close picture. With the end of the Earth it then begins several million years after a collision with a young planet named Theia. The Moon formed gradually. Back then, a day lasted about 6 hours, a day that was too short. Having time for anything is simply impossible. It's a good thing the workday doesn't exist yet. About 4,100,000,000 years ago to 3,800,000,000 years ago, the late heavy bombardment hit the Earth, a large number of asteroids. Some scientists believe that at that time on Earth there were oceans, although high temperature. Honestly, I have a hard time believing it, but who am I to argue with scientists? It was the asteroid that helped this planet gradually become covered with water. One theory is that asteroids carry tiny amounts of light, capture moisture, and deliver it to Earth. This is how, over billions of years, about half of the water in the planet's oceans came to Earth from space after the bombardment. 3,200,000,000 to 2,800,000,000 years ago. Almost the entire surface of the planet is occupied by a shallow ocean, the temperature of which ranges from 55 to 88 degrees Celsius. This is 131 to 190 degrees Fahrenheit. However, microorganisms have inhabited warm waters. So the Earth is just a slowly growing volcanic island. I imagine how hot those days were. It began to lengthen and about 2,500,000,000 years ago, the first supercontinent Kennorland began to form. So let's fast forward to 1,500,000,000 years ago, days on Earth. This lasts at least 16 hours. So, complex organisms did not yet exist, but the lithospheric plates continued to move and after 400,000,000 years created another supercontinent, Rodinia. And after some time, Pangaea, about 650,000,000 years ago. According to popular theory, our planet was a snow globe. Literally, this theory is called Snow Earth. Scientists claim that everything is completely covered with ice and even the equator is as cold as modern Antarctica. We can even think about the temperatures at the poles at that time, but even under a thick layer of rock. Ice. The planet maintains a fairly high temperature. The absence of ice, age can kill volcanoes, and carbon dioxide from their eruptions accumulates in the atmosphere, gradually melting the glaciers. This melting releases large amounts of oxygen and changes forever. This planet was about 541,000,000 years ago. The Cambrian explosion occurred at temperatures up to 30 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit. And record oxygen concentrations caused the emergence of a large number of living organisms. The biodiversity is so impressive that some creatures have even developed exoskeletons to protect themselves from being eaten by others. Researchers estimate that almost all animal species in existence during this period, it lasts all day, 0.22 hours. And, 450,000,000 years ago, plants and arthropods began to truly conquer the Earth 419,000,000 years ago. The first insects appeared about 300,000,000 years ago. Most of our planet is occupied by flooded swamps. Many scientists, such as Professor Frederick Rich, support this view, but ancient swamps were not like modern swamps, with some plants growing up to 30 meters tall. About 100 feet and giant bugs were flying everywhere. This is thanks to the high oxygen concentration. Rejoice that our giant ancestors, modern dragonflies, have not survived to this day. Seriously, that's not the best replacement for pigeons. 252,000,000 years ago. Dinosaurs later came to replace the destroyed species, but it wasn't just giant dinosaurs that shared the planet. The continents also moved about 175,000,000 years ago. Pangaea begins to fall apart. The Atlantic Ocean and other oceans appearing around the world began to take their present shape. And then we see today, at that time, you can find the first pine trees, nuns, praying mantises and bees. A million years ago, power on the planet then passed to the non-dinosaur mammals, which began to feel free, actively spread throughout the planet and evolved along with all of your mouse. Meanwhile, the length of daylight has reached nearly 24 hours and the temperature remains stable at the usual level of 24 degrees Celsius. Scientists say that temperature was about 75 degrees Fahrenheit, about 8 to 4 million years ago, and it happened in a big way. The ancestors of the modern era began to separate from our ancestors. Each planet followed its own evolutionary path about 4 million years ago. The planet's climate changed again. Of course, this did not happen immediately, but the climate itself changed part of the area. Dense forest in the steppe. According to one theory, this is what our distant ancestors did. At the base of the tree, stand up straight and start looking for food. They are not the only species that has begun fighting for survival. Many people try to adapt to changes, but in the end only humans succeed to the point of inventing tools. The Netflix wheel, 1,400,000 years ago or more, Homo erectus began colonizing Eurasia. They knew how to use fire. It is difficult to accurately calculate the Earth's population during this period. You know, the census at that time was not very good. Then about 300,000 years ago Homo sapiens appeared, human reason appeared and began to inhabit the entire Earth so actively that still cannot stop. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So click on the bell to receive notifications of interesting new videos waiting for you. I've got time until next time.